嗨，这里是法国生存指南小组。波尔多作为世界红酒名城，自然少不了众多闻名世界的酒庄。今天，我们就带大家去探访一个位于波尔多的古老庄园 ——Bob Clement。请跟随我们的脚步，一起走进这座美丽古老的酒庄。进入庄园，映入眼帘的是一座始建于16世纪的古老建筑。高耸的塔尖伴随着四周静谧幽深的花园，显得意蕴十足。穿过石块堆砌的小路，我们可以看到陈列在城堡建筑前的老式自行车、老式马车以及一架红色的老式拖拉机。这些带有复古风味的装饰物，搭配着古色古香的城堡建筑以及幽深美丽的花园，带给人们一股厚重的历史感和别样的氛围。接下来，请跟随镜头，也跟随这座庄园讲解员的步伐以及解说，让我们一同开启今天的红酒之旅。首先，我们来到的是红酒的发酵室。发酵室两旁巨大的发酵木桶，就是红酒由美味的葡萄变为醇香美酒的关键了。在每年的采摘季过后，工人们将分好类的葡萄依次丢入桶中，依照不同种类的葡萄和不同种类的红酒来搭配不同种类的酵母以及水。通过严格控制酿造的时间、温度，进而酿造出适合的酒类。接下来，让我们听听讲解员的解说。
During the sorting process, we're going to do especially what we call the destalking. Destalking means that you're going to remove the stalk. The stalk, you may already saw that, is like the skeleton of the bench, is the vegetable part. We prefer removing this for the Merlot and the Cab because it can bring some bad and herbaceous aromas, okay? Especially, green tannins and herbaceous flavors, so we prefer removing this. In Burgundy, for example, they like using the stalk of the Pinot Noir because the stalk of the Pinot Noir is going to bring a little bit more structure and a little bit more body. Okay, because the Pinot Noir without the stalk is a little too light. Okay, here in Bordeaux we don't need the stalk because the Cabernet Sauvignon, the Cabernet Franc, and the Merlot have enough structure. Okay, so that's why we prefer removing this here. Okay, and then after removing the stalk, we're gonna send all the berries in what you call an optical sorting machine. An optical sorting machine is sort of really huge machine equipped with some different cameras. We are going to take some pictures of the berries, of each berry actually. This is a huge work, as you can imagine, but obviously this is not a human work, so this is definitely easier for us now. And actually, we have a software, and into this software we're going to say, okay, so we're looking for the best ripeness processed grapes, and for us the best ripeness for the grapes, like the Merlot, for example, is this color. Okay, so for example, Merlot, which is perfectly ripe, gonna be more usually black with a blue shade. That means that the Merlot is perfectly ripe. So we're gonna entering these data into the machine, and then the machine gonna take a lot of pictures of each berries, and thanks to a sort of blowing system, gonna blow out the bad berries. This is super fast. Actually, this is not a winemaking machine at the very beginning. This is a vegetable and fruits sorting machine, and also sausage and all this kind of thing. Actually, it was used for the alimentation at the very beginning, and we took it back and just use it in order to sort the best berries thanks to the color. Okay, for the fruits, like for example the tomatoes, the machine is also checking the weight of the fruit, if it's big enough or not, if it's that kind of thing. Here we don't really care about the size of the fruit, we just care about the ripeness, because at the end everything's fresh, so we don't care about the size. Okay, so right after the sorting, by the way, little parenthesis, by the time till 2017 here in Pape Clement, we used to do this process by hand.
Wow.
Okay. Why that? Yeah, this is quite huge, as you can imagine. It's called what we call the égrenage manuel. Égrenage manuel means removing the berries one by one from the bunch manually. Okay. As you can imagine, it used to take forever. Okay, obviously, but it was the best method in order to be sure that we don't have any little stalk on the berry, because the biggest issue is that if you let just a little bit of stalk on each berries, you're gonna have lots of green flavors in your wine and a bad tannins as well. So that's why we used to do that by hand. Nowadays, the technologies and the machine are great enough, let's say that, in order to be perfectly efficient and remove all this stalk without any problem, without keeping some of them, and so like this, we're avoiding this green taste and this green tannins into our wine. But we stopped this process, this manual process, a couple years ago, in 2017, actually. Because the technologies are good enough since 2028, 2018.
Has there been any detection of any difference in quality?
想必你对红酒的酿造已经有了一定的了解。接下来，请继续跟随我们的脚步，去探索酒庄红酒储藏的奥秘。还是穿过石板堆砌的小路，我们一起踏入这座对外开放的红酒储藏室。进入红酒储藏室，迎面而来的是扑鼻的木松气息，伴随着阵阵葡萄果香和红酒发酵的香味，勾起人们的味蕾。木质酒桶一排排整齐地陈列在低温环境当中，颇有几分和谐的美感。
We're going to have a little issue because right after the first fermenting process, so the alcoholic fermenting process, the wine is going to be full of malic acid. The malic acid, in order to picturize a little, is the acidity that you're going to find especially into the green apples, so quite acidic. So now the goal, before to start anything, is to decrease the acidity level of the wine. And in order to do this, you're going to do a second fermenting process directly inside the barrel, which is called the malolactic fermenting process. The malo is actually really easy to do, okay? You don't need to add any bacteria, any yeast, nothing. You just need to increase the temperature inside the cellar around 22, 23 degrees approximately. And when you're going to reach this temperature, the malic acid going to naturally turn in lactic acid. The lactic acid is the acidity that you're going to find, for example, into the dairies, into the yogurt. So pretty smoother, pretty softer compared to the previous acidity. So when this fermenting process is done, by the way, it's a little longer, okay? Because remember the previous one, the alcoholic fermenting process is approximately 10 days, okay? The malolactic, it's in between 4 weeks and 3 months. So a little longer, okay? That's why we're doing it in barrels, because like this one, like winning, let's say that, 3 months of aging without starting the aging, all right? This is because of this that we're preferring doing it oak, all right? So right after the malolactic fermenting process, we're going to say that the wine is fine and it's ready to be aged. So here in Pape Clement, we're going to let the wine age during 15 months minimum, around 15, 18 months regarding the quality of the vintage. It's 40% of brand new old barrels and 60% of barrel from one wine. Everybody understand a barrel from one wine? More or less. So actually here into the cellar, we are in the 2022 aging room. So that means all the wines in each barrel that we have there are from 2022. So that means we harvested the grapes in 2022, turned them into wine, and so the vintage is 2022. Okay, even if we're gonna bottling in 2024, it's gonna be 2022. Okay, so here you got barrels from 2022. So those barrels has been made, in 2022. So they are brand new barrels that we are using for the first time. We have also 60% of 2021 barrels who are not here, maybe later on. 2022. Okay. Why that? Obviously there is a reason. Indeed, after one aging process, your barrel gonna lose something like 85, 90% of its oaky potential. Okay, so that means the wine that you're gonna age in an already used barrel, you are not going to extract so much wooden tannins, wooden aromas, etc., etc. but you're going to have what you call a micro-oxidation. A micro-oxidation is, thanks to the oak, the oak as a porous material going to let pass through the oxygen inside a barrel. And by passing through, the oxygen is going to oxidize the tannins and turn them smoother, softer. It's a little like when you're at home, you're opening a bottle of wine, you're having a sip and you're saying, it's a little too tight, maybe you could breathe a little bit, in order to turn a little softer and smoother. This is exactly the same concept, but here you have 225 liter instead of 0.75 liter. So this is a little longer. Have a look at this, okay?
除了温度和储藏条件，保存红酒的关键也在于储藏红酒的木桶。木桶的材质和制作工艺都是十分关键的因素。让我们来听一听讲解员的具体讲解吧。
But obviously, barrel maker never called this piece. Can you imagine? It's calling this a duel. Okay. So actually, in order to start your barrel making, as you can see, the duel is perfectly flat. It's not shaped as a barrel. So in order to shape it like barrel, you're going to grab a lot of different duel, put them like this, and put a cycle. Okay. You're going to put a cycle at the bottom, put all the duels around, at the other cycle. And here you're going to have a little problem. It's not shaped as a barrel. So in order to shape your oak as a barrel, you're going to put a fire at the middle, and thanks to the heat of the fire, the oak going to turn more malleable, more flexible. Okay. So thanks to this, you're going to be able to tighten up all this cycle, and poof, you have a barrel. Okay. This is the easiest way to explain, but just in order to let you understand. So this process, the toasting, it's unique regarding the barrel maker. Each barrel maker is going to have his own intensity of toasting. Here you got three different ones. You have all of these two is the same. Light toasting, medium toasting, and heavy toasting. If you are using, for example, a barrel with a light toasting, like for example Oreo, you are going to extract especially cinnamon, vanilla, licorice flavor, for example, mint, also a little bit. If you are using a heavy toasting barrel, like Francis, for example, you're going to extract much more like torrefaction flavors, like coffee beans, cacao beans flavors, toffee, this kind of smoky flavors, tobacco, etc., etc. So actually working with a dozen of different barrel makers permitting us to expand the spectrum of aroma and having much more complexity. So you can calculate, you have approximately 600 barrels every year, 28 plots, two different vintage, let's say that, of barrels, and a dozen of barrel makers. So you have a lot of different possibilities. Le houillage, or topping in English, it's pretty easy to understand. We're just going to open the barrel every month, okay, checking the level, and if needed, we're going to top. So that means we're going to grab a wine, another wine, okay, from the same vintage, obviously, because we're not able to blend different vintages, and we're going to top. So we're going to fill up this barrel like this. We're going to remove the oxygen from the barrel, and the wine going to be able to age longer. This is what you're going to do with these, because actually these vats are a little too big, but this is a little harder to do the topping on it. So we're putting the wine in this storage, and like this, after we're going to have the operation, replace it.
听完关于红酒储藏的具体介绍后，我们今天的红酒之旅还剩最后一个环节 La dégustation de vin， 即品尝 Pape Clement 酒庄的特色产品。跟随我们来到品酒师和商店的连接处，我们不禁感叹 Pape Clement 酒庄产品的丰厚，各种年份的各类红酒，你都能在这里找到合适的选择。好了，品完酒了，我们今天的红酒之旅到此就告一段落了。接下来的内容，我们会为您带来波尔多的特色小吃甘纳类，以及波尔多的特色中餐，请继续关注我们。如果您喜欢我们的视频的话， 请给予我们持续的鼓励和支持。我们下期视频再见，拜拜。